of Time community, and welcome to the Wheel of Time Pod-Thru. I'm Teresa.
And I'm Tim.
And together, we're going to walk through Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time book series. How you doing, Tim?
I'm doing good. It's been an interesting week. How about you?
I'm good. I'm just realizing that I don't have whiskey this week. I only have coffee. And now I'm sad.
Bummer. I can fix that.
No, it's fine. We're doing a thing. It's cool.
All right.
Before we get started, we just want to remind you that this is a reread. We assume that you've read the entire series, so there will be spoilers. You have been warned. All right, Tim, what are we going to be doing in today's episode?
Today, we're going to be discussing chapters 34 and 35 of The Great Hunt, where we find murder, mayhem, and the stedding. Chapter 34 is called The Wheel Weaves, and the icon is the Wheel of Time.
Here's a quick summary to act as a reminder for those of you who are not reading along with us. In the wake of Barthane's party, Tom grumpily is making his way back to the bunch of grapes. The guests had kept him till morning, and he was sick of dealing with snotty nobles. They all wanted to pump him with questions about Rand. He had stopped at the great tree on his way back to his own inn, but Rand and the others had already gone. It left him with a feeling of something not done, but Rand was on his own now. When he gets to his room, Tom sees Dina lying on the bed, still in her dress, facing the wall. He smiles to himself, thinking that she fell asleep waiting for him, and decides on the spur of the moment that tonight will be the night he unveils her to the world and lets her perform for the first time. He puts his hand on her shoulder to wake her and tell her, and she rolls limply on her back, dead from a huge gash across her throat. The bed is soaked with blood. Before Tom can react, he hears the wardrobe door creaking behind him and spins on his bad leg, throwing knives from their hidden spots in his sleeves. He gets one assailant in the throat, but the second misses its mark, and he hits the second man in the shoulder. Producing a third knife, Tom slashes the back of the man's leg, throws him to the ground, and puts the knife right up to his eye. Before he kills the man, he demands to know why. The man tells him that it was all about the great game. He says Barthane's sent him and that everyone wants to know about the Andoran Lord. They could make a ton of money selling information. Tom tells him that he made one mistake. He never should have touched the girl. And Tom jams his knife into the man's eye, killing him. Zira comes in and is shocked to find dead bodies and offers Tom sincere condolences over Dina. She tells Tom that this looks bad and that he has to leave Cairhien. Tom responds that there's still one more man he has to kill. Zira tells him that if he means Barthane's, don't bother. He was found in his bedchamber, torn to pieces with his head stuck on a spike. She urges Tom again to leave, knowing that he will be implicated in the death, and says that she'll take care of the scene. As Tom packs up his things, Zira recognizes the first assailant that Tom killed. He was not Barthane's man. He worked for the king. Tom has a reckless look on his face, and Zira tells him that killing a king is crazy, and Dina would never want him to throw his life away in a useless attempt at revenge. He responds that he's only an old gleeman and takes his leave, a man on a mission. Padden Fane rides into Falme with his usual nastiness and arrogance. He has spent some time questioning people and has learned a lot about the Seanchan. And wouldn't you know it, the rumors are true. He takes the chest with the horn to Turok's manor to present it to him as a gift. Fane still can't figure out how to open the chest, but Turok knows the secret. Fane spins a lie about how the horn was passed down in his family as they waited for Hawkwing's descendants to return. He makes a play for the dagger and is shut down hard. He tries to convince Turok to sound the horn for glory and power, and Turok refuses. Whoever sounds the horn is linked to it until they die, and he doesn't want the Empress to think he's trying to skip to the front of the line of successors for the Crystal Throne. For now, he's going to keep Fane around because he's bored, and Fane's stories interest him. Fane warns him that an evil dark friend named Rand al'Thor is after him, and will try to steal the horn back with his hordes of Trollocs and dark friends. Turok responds like, well, that would at least be interesting. Fane leaves to go off by himself and giggle at the prospect of finally seeing Rand dead.
You know, I must have read this book at least 10 times at this point, and I'm still not sure I know who had Dina killed. On the one hand, one of the men is confirmed by the innkeeper as a known employee of the king. On the other hand, the people of Barthane's Manor that kept Tom longer than usual could have just been stalling. Like the book says, they had demanded more of the same, but they had laughed in all the wrong places at all the wrong times. But the fact that I'm still interested in who ordered her death all these years later shows how well this is put together, or maybe how clueless I am.
No, it is put together well. I was also wondering if they were stalling. The way it's written, it could go either way. But I'm pretty sure that it's true that Galdrian sent the men for Tom, so Zira's right. And if that is the case, then the nobles are laughing at the wrong things because they're blind to the satire that Tom's offering.
Okay.
They can't see that the emperor has no clothes, so they're missing the point of the stories, you know?
Got it.
So they're also just being complete jerks because Tom is bought and paid for, so they feel like they can do whatever they want.
Good points.
Nobles suck.
Basically, yeah.
So spoilers for Buffy season 2. But this scene with Tom discovering Dina reminds me so much of Giles discovering Jenny Calendar.
Yeah.
Like, it plays out so similarly. Similarly. I can talk. Words are hard. But yeah, it plays out in my mind. Like, I couldn't stop picturing it. And just like how my heart hurt for Giles, I feel so bad for Tom.
Yeah.
You know, like I didn't really care for Dina one way or another, but poor Tom. Like my heart just hurts for him.
Yeah, it's like the way Giles finds Jenny and how he sets out to kill Angel.
Mm-hmm.
But Tom is so hurt, but cold and fixed on his goal.
Yeah.
Kill the man responsible. Mm-hmm. And the way he hamstrings the man who falls out of the wardrobe and then holds the knife to his eye displays what Tom is capable of. Mm-hmm. It's so badass and sad and a little scary, all rolled into one really well-written scene.
Yeah, definitely. Tom comes off like a straight-up assassin here.
Yeah.
The gray wolf who plays the game of houses in his sleep and can start wars and topple kingdoms.
Totally.
I know that he's all about intrigue and espionage and that he wasn't just a gleeman but a court bard. But how did a court bard learn to kill so expertly? The only reason he missed also hitting the second man in the throat with his knife was because he was off balance from spinning on his bad leg. How did Tom pick up these skills?
You know, we said it a couple of times in the last season, but I really want to know the adventures of Basil Gill and Tom Marilyn.
Right? Like, we don't really know much about Tom's life. Like, we know that eventually he ended up as a court bard in Camelin when Morghese was a young queen. And, you know, he became her lover. We know that he had a nephew that he had to go save, and he failed to save from Aes Sedai shenanigans. But, like, we don't really know where Tom learned all this, like, wheeling and dealing and spy stuff.
Yeah.
Because by the time he was court bard, he was already helping Morghese out with all of the, you know, political crap.
Yeah, where did he learn how to kill a man so effectively?
I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, he's a juggler, so obviously he's very dexterous and he has a lot of skill as far as like the knife skills. Mm-hmm. It's not the same thing, but it's similar.
Right.
But like, yeah, I don't know where he picked up these skills, but by this point, like he is stone cold, like totally super spy.
When he wants to be, yes, he can be.
Yeah.
There's so much political intrigue going on here, but all because people are wondering who Rand is and what he's doing in the city. Mm-hmm. The game has really spiraled out of control. And to add fuel to the fire, it sounds like Fane gave Barthanes to the Trollocs as a chew toy.
Maybe, but wasn't he killed by the golem?
A golem?
Yeah, like, I don't know if this is ever confirmed, but the way he's ripped apart as opposed to eaten or taken away to be eaten makes me think that it wasn't Trollocs, but I'm not 100% sure. Like, it sounds like the kind of death that, like, the golem does. He rips you to pieces and drinks your blood and stuff.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that yet. Probably because we haven't seen any golem at all, and it's kind of early in the series.
Yeah, I can't remember when he pops up. I know he definitely kills Harold Fell.
Yes.
Is that his first name? Fell is his last name.
I think Harold.
Could be. Something like that. And, you know, that definitely is a few books from now. But
The only thing that makes me say maybe not a golem is the head on the pike. That it could just be Fane.
maybe, but like,
you know, I think you might have something here.
Fane's already gone through the Waygate.
True.
Yeah, wait a second. Fane's already gone.
So it would have had to have been...
Because Barthanes gives Rand Fane's message. So Fane's out of there.
Interesting. Ooh, okay. Okay.
I think it was a golem.
I like it.
I don't know why. Like, who sent it? I'm pretty sure Ishi's the one that found the golem in the stasis box or something like that. And I don't think there's more than just like one, maybe two. So Ishi had to have sent him.
You know, the more I think about it, the more I like this idea. Okay. Cool.
I don't know why. Who knows? But like, I really think it was a golem. I don't think it was Trollocs at all.
Interesting. Learn something new even after having read this thing 10 times. Awesome. Sweet.
I mean, again, I can't prove it. I'm not sure. That's just kind of what I'm thinking off the top of my head.
So Tom realizes someone has set the granaries on fire and advises Zira to leave the city because things are going to get really, really bad for everybody. Mm-hmm. Like, if you want a modern day equivalent of how bad this is, it's like someone blew up and set fire to some of the oil drilling platforms in a small country. There are riots in the street, and if Carrion wasn't in trouble before, they are really screwed now, especially economically.
Yeah, definitely. And we briefly referenced the French Revolution last week, and this is basically Carrion kicking off their own version.
Yep.
People starving in the streets, the nobility wasting hordes of money trying to outdo each other,
Yep.
while the country slips deeper and deeper into debt. And now there's a power vacuum. Mm-hmm. Throw all the ingredients together, bake it 350, and we have a piping hot civil war on our hands.
Yay! Two sentences stand out in this scene because they convey so much about Tom's state of mind.
Okay.
When Zira pleads with him to think of what Dina would want him to do, the book says, "I'm only an old gleeman," he said from the door, "and Randolph Thor is only a shepherd, but we both do what we must. Who could I possibly be dangerous to?" So without the inner thought about Rand that Zira is not privy to, this has a different meaning. But with it, there's a resigned sadness to the tone.
Interesting. I had a different reading for that line. I saw it as the most Deus Damar answer ever. Because, of course, the real answer is that Tom is immensely dangerous. He is a stone-cold assassin super spy. Saying that he's only an old gleeman is a lie. He is many things, but a mere gleeman has never been one. Just like Rand may have seemed like just a shepherd, but that was never truly all he was. Even before he found out that he could channel, he was still the Dragon Reborn, a baby born of prophecy, destined to both doom and save the world. That's the truth of who he is. He just didn't know it yet. So I guess instead of resignation here, I see Tom picking up the mantle of being a super spy again, off to do what he must and kill himself a king.
Right.
You know, like,
Okay.
I don't know. That's just my take on it. That's how I read it.
That's an interesting take. Okay. This will not be the only time one of our characters is at the center of the start of a civil war.
Right?
Yeah, our heroes rack up quite the body count on their adventures. This was just the start.
They're pretty reckless.
Yeah.
Like, it gets real rough to be around these people.
Yeah, it becomes like a gag later on. It's like, another civil war? Again?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not good to be alive during an apocalypse.
No,
just
not
in
really.
general.
Not really. Point of view switch to Pat and Fane.
Boo.
Just in case you did not catch on to the fact that Fane is a vile and psychotic monster, his method of obtaining its horse was to allow the Trollocs to eat its former owner, but prepare the woman to be eaten in front of the other dark friends in their little group to ensure that they all got the message. I get that bad guy's got a bad guy, but couldn't you just kill her and take the horse? I'm sure you have plenty to say about this too, but we just read about how Fane fed the woman to the Trollocs in front of the other Dark Friends in order to get a horse to keep them cowed. Do we really need to add this explanation of the hierarchy of his information gathering, working the pros and cons of torturing women and children versus torturing men as well? We get it. He's a bad guy, a really bad guy. But we already knew that. And walking through his process doesn't give us any new information. It's just totally unnecessary.
Yeah. To be honest, I pretty much couldn't care less about the second portion of this chapter.
Yeah.
We get a few tidbits of important information, but the rest just feels like filler. Interesting filler to people who are fans of the Shanshan, or I guess of Fane.
Yeah,
but
true.
I am neither of those people. So I usually just skim this bit. We learn that the Empress favors Tuon, her second daughter, to succeed her on the Crystal Throne. And that whoever sounds the horn is tied to it until they die. It would just be any old horn for everyone else until the horn blower dies. Those nuggets will come in handy later, but that's about it. That's all I've got. So if you want to just kind of say whatever you found interesting,
Okay.
I don't really have anything to say.
Okay. Well, when Fane presents the chest to Turok and Turok opens it like it's no big deal, it's nice to see Fane's get upset.
Right? He's had that thing for so long and he still can't open it.
Yeah. Nothing is going as he expected. I'm 100% fine with that. Also, Fane is not a very good liar. Like, Doman did a much better job of lying his way out of the situation, and he didn't have a centuries-old evil soul helping him out.
Yeah.
And Turok hounds him about it because he smells a rat. Yeah. It would have been great if Turok went through with his threat to put Fane on a ship and send him back to the Empress.
Right?
Stripped of the dagger, sent across the sea, never to be heard from again.
That would have been nice.
But things would never have worked out the way they did if he had not done it that way. So
The Wheel Weaves is the author. I mean, The Wheel Wills.
yeah, there we go. Yeah, sure. We get a lot more information here about how messed up the Shanshan culture is, and we get a name drop that I totally missed the first time through, and was kicking myself for not remembering the second and third time as well.
Oh.
Turok says, at the court of the 9 moves in Shandar, one such as you could be given to the Seekers for a shift of your eyes. The daughter of the 9 moons was under our nose the whole time.
Yeah, no one was going to catch that.
Nope. And then after the second encounter that we've had here with Turok, I'd say the dude needs to get a gesture or a gleeman or someone to take his mind off his boredom.
Right? Like, wow.
He's just collecting shady people and listening to them tell stories like the Sultan and Arabian Nights. Get a hobby other than collecting rare or obscure items, like maybe learn to knit.
Seriously, yeah.
Yeah. So Fane's setting up Rand as the person who is following him and being the one in control of the Trollocs is a good ploy. It's half true. And finding out that the Shanshan have not encountered Trollocs before, that was interesting.
Yeah, weird.
I wonder what other shadow spawn they do encounter in Shandar, but not enough to want to see the Shanshan Empire up close and personal.
Yeah, true.
And that wraps up Chapter 34. But before we get to Chapter 35, here's a quick word from our sponsors.
Today's episode of the Wheel of Time Pod-Thru is brought to you by Sung Wood. From bowls to beds and everything in between, talented Ogier can produce all manner of objects without ever harming a single tree. With this rare gift, the tree singer can coax the wood to grow and twist and shape itself into anything they desire. Sung Wood, completely cruelty-free and extremely valuable. Just don't ask for a house, Matt.
Chapter 35 is called Stedding Tsofu, and the icon is the Great Tree.
Rand and Co. head to Stedding Tsofu, but no one is too happy about it except for maybe Matt. He is looking sicker by the day, even though Varen heals him every morning when he wakes and every night before he sleeps. Everyone can feel it when they cross over the boundary of the steading. They are met by a chatty young female Ogier named Aerith, who offers to take them to the elders. She asks that some of the soldiers stay behind because having so many armed humans together is unsettling. Of the Shanarians, it is only Ingtar and Huron who follow Aerith. Loyal and the Two Rivers boys walk a little bit behind the others, and Loyal comments to Rand how beautiful Aerith is. He says how good it is to be back in the Stedding and explains that after the breaking of the world, Ogier, who could not find the Stedding, were taken by the longing. Rand is concerned, but Loyal reassures him that he's fine. Besides, the Stedding is boring when compared to adventuring with 3 Tavarin. They observe Ogier life in the Stedding, and it seems peaceful and beautiful. Rand is a little envious of how content and at peace everyone seems, and he likes the Ogier very much. They get a look at some of the great trees that boggle the mind with their massive size. As they follow Aerith, they come across 3 ale maidens of the spear, and Ingtar loosens his sword from its scabbard. The maiden seems startled to see them, and the youngest of the 3 cries, "Shanarians!" They raise their black veils and advance with their spears. Ingtar pulls his sword, ready to defend, and Rand, Huron, and Perrin all pull their weapons too. Aerith and Varen tell them to stop, and Matt tells his friends that they're crazy to pull weapons on a woman, ale or not. Rand worries about hurting a woman and nervously seeks the void. It comes, but the glow of Stedding is not there. Abruptly, a male Ogier strides between the 2 groups and chastises them for their behavior, reminding them of the pact. He allows some excuse for Rand and co. because they're new, but he admonishes the maidens who should know better. They apologize, and everyone puts their weapons away. The Ogier introduces himself as Juin and is there to take Varen to talk with the elders. Rand and the others have a brief staring contest with the 3L, who are looking at Rand with increasing contempt, especially for his sword, but eventually they move on. Aerith says that they are there for Sung Wood, but Perrin doesn't buy it. He says that they're seeking he who comes with the dawn, and Matt adds a jab at Rand that they are looking for him. As soon as Aerith leaves them, Rand rounds on Matt and Perrin to know what they're talking about. They explain about meeting Urian, Matt, the insensitive lout we know him to be, until he finally drops it. Some Ogier check on them to make sure that they are comfortable, and Loyal tries to hide behind a large book. Huron comments on how clean the air smells, like there has never been any violence done in this place. Loyal is practically vibrating with anxiety, and Rand asked him what's wrong. He tells them that if the Ogier find out that he left the Stedding without permission, they will decide that he needs a wife to settle him down. Ogier marriages are arranged, so Loyal would have to have no say in the matter. One of the reasons he left was because his mother was already looking for a wife for him, and he was afraid that no wife would let him go outside the Stedding until he had gray in his beard. Matt scoffs at this, saying that where he comes from, the man does the choosing, and no woman could keep a man from doing whatever he wanted to. Rand thinks back to the way that he and Egwene were pushed toward each other, and says that he thinks they did it the same way, leaving Matt scratching his head in misogynistic confusion. Juin returns and tells them that the elders would like to see all of them. Rand tries to reassure Loyal that if the elders want to force him to get married, they will say that they need him to get through the ways. Stay and get married or travel the ways, Loyal grimaced ruefully. Life is very unsettling with Tavarin for friends.
We're heading to the Stedding, and no one is too happy about it. Perrin asks Loyal if the wolves go into the Stedding, and I'm scratching my head about this. Perrin was in a Stedding in the first book with wolves.
Right?
Hopper died in that Stedding because of the White Cloaks. So yes, we know that wolves can go into a Stedding. It's more a matter of wanting to go in a place where people are.
Yeah.
Do you think Jordan made a mistake here, or do you think Jordan was trying to prove that wolves are not connected to the Dark One?
You know, I don't know. That's actually a really good question, because I didn't really think about it until you mentioned it, but yeah, parents should totally know better. Duh.
Yeah, totally.
So I don't know. I mean, maybe he just put it there to remind the readers, like, and wolves are cool. Wolves are totally cool. Don't even worry about it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. It's
You're
always
right.
bothered
Yeah,
me.
it shouldn't be there.
Okay. Yay. All right. I was right.
Don't get used to it.
No, we're not getting used. Okay. But I do like the description of different people crossing the border into the Stedding.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of like how There's no flashy light or external indicator that something is going on. It's like the reaction to the steading is a personal one, and seeing each person's reaction is kind of a reflection of what they're dealing with in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
I love how Uno can only get out half of his swearing because even when he swears, he's speechless.
Right?
Yeah.
I love that little quirk of Uno.
Yeah.
We meet Aerith, and she welcomes everyone to the Stedding Tsofu. Right away, she comments on how many humans are visiting all of a sudden. And I love that she talks too much and says things that she shouldn't, just like Loyal does. Like, she starts to say that they even had traveling people visit, but they left when the ale showed up. But of course, it would be impolite to talk about all the bad blood between the two groups, so she backs out of it. And Loyal is always finding himself in awkward conversations like that. So I think it's really cute that Aerith does it too. And Loyal's immediately attracted to her. He says, "Is she not beautiful, Rand?" And her voice sings.
You know,
It's so cute.
I don't know why I didn't catch on to that until you pointed this out. But yeah, like, Aerith is totally just like...
She's just like Loyal, yeah.
Like, she's making all the weird, awkward... Like, yeah, I, for some reason, just didn't connect that. They
It's
are
so
two peas in a pod,
cute.
aren't they?
Yeah.
Wow.
And she's just a little bit younger than Loyal. Because Loyal, I think, is around 90-ish.
Okay.
And we find out way later in, like, Knife of Dreams that Aerith is, like, 87, 85?
Okay.
Somewhere in her late 80s.
So an ogre year is not a big deal.
No. But yeah, she's just a touch younger than Loyal. So they're very, very equal as far as, like, their youth and their exuberance.
Yeah.
It's just so cute.
Very cool. Thanks for pointing that out.
Uh-huh.
I can't help but be moved a bit by the way Loyal describes the way the longing first presented among the Ogier during their time of exile.
Mm-hmm.
Just the fact that they refer to it as exile speaks volumes to how difficult and painful this must have been for their people.
Mm-hmm.
This time around, it really made me think on what would happen to our world if it went through some kind of cataclysmic event, where we were all scattered across the globe trying to find our way back to our homes, only to find that they could have disappeared completely from the surface of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And the longing to return to that place of home and safety being so strong that people died from the heartbreak of it all. Then those who survive this possible extinction level event then start dying from the pain of the loss. It's really sad.
Yeah.
But at the risk of sounding too alarmist, it's not hard to imagine this actually happening in our near future. Loyal trying to hide behind his horse is just adorable.
Yeah.
And later, he's trying to hide behind a book.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny to watch his trying to be inconspicuous and not draw any attention to himself when all the other Ogi are just so curious why someone so young is out on his own and in the company of humans on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
And the more he tries to hide, the more of an oddity he becomes.
Yeah, seriously.
And seriously, I just want to punch Matt in the face so many times in this chapter.
Me too.
He's such a jerk to Loyal when he says Aerith is pretty and when he's trying to explain the exile.
Yeah, he's really rude.
Yeah, he basically tells Loyal that his friendship is only one of convenience, then insults Loyal by talking about how many houses you could build if you cut down one of the great trees.
That's so bad.
Like, Piran obviously didn't hit him hard enough the first time he punched Matt in the arm for being a dumbass.
Yeah, definitely. Jordan describes the Ogier this way. They had a curious way of moving, in some manner blending a careful deliberateness with an almost childlike, carefree joyfulness. They knew and liked who and what they were and where they were, and they seemed at peace with themselves and everything around them. Rand found himself envying them. This stuck out to me because it speaks volumes of how sad Rand is.
Yeah.
I can tend to give him a hard time because he makes a lot of dumb choices, but it's important to keep reminding myself that Rand's world has been turned upside down and he's still grieving for his old life.
Yeah.
I guess I should cut him some slack once in a while.
Yeah, but only once in a while. It will be interesting to see how the TV show depicts the Ogier homes. When I read this chapter, I get a sense of a blend of both hobbits and tree elves from Lord of the Rings. I love the warm and down-to-earth feel of it all, like mixing the elegance and the complexity. It's beautiful.
It is, yeah.
A lot happens when the Maidens of the Spear realize that there are armed Shannarians in the steading. The thing that stands out for me is Viren. When she demands that the ale stop and they ignore her, she clutches her fists in frustration. Viren is not used to people not listening to her, and she can't do anything with the power to back up her position of authority. We have too few moments in the series where Viren is caught off guard, and this is one of them.
Yeah, true. Rand and Matt get tripped up by their chivalrous perspective on women. And this will continue to bite them both in the ass over and over again throughout the series.
Yes, it will.
Even when a woman is trying to kill them, they both have a hard time getting past the idea that they can't fight a woman. Even a Forsaken.
Yeah.
And we'll have plenty of time to talk about that later, but it becomes a problem.
It does. The moment where Juin steps in and shames everyone into acting like civil people is kind of awesome. He comes in like a disappointed dad and makes everyone back off for a minute.
Yeah.
We don't get an explanation of the pact, but Jordan makes it obvious that this is something to be taken seriously, and the maidens should know better.
Yeah. So Aerith says that the maidens came for Sungwood, and she tells them that Stedding Tsofu has 2 tree singers.
Yeah.
This is a really rare talent now, and she's showing off a little. She mentions that she has heard that Stedding Shengtai has a talented young tree singer, not realizing that it's Loyal she's heard of. Like, she's trying to impress them that her Stedding has 2.
Ooh.
I just think it's cute. I love
is.
like the whole thing with Aerith and Loyal.
Yeah.
The situation with the maidens is Rand's first ale encounter. So many people have been telling him that he looks like an aleman, but this is his first chance to get a good look.
Yeah.
Matt and Perrin fill Rand in on meeting Urian and tell him about He Who Comes with the Dawn. And it's not really until the Shadow Rising that Rand settles his identity with himself instead of denying it all the time.
Yeah, we got a long way to go for that.
We really do.
Yeah. Earlier in the chapter, Loyal makes the comment that it's a dull life in the steading compared to traveling with 3 Tavarin. Here we get a description of Ogier marriage customs, and it's basically an arranged marriage.
Yeah.
But with the twist that the males have no say and the females do all the choosing and the negotiating. I think Jordan did this intentionally to show that the wrongness of this setup is, it's not just that it's like handing off property. A man in the modern world, across several different cultures, is expected that you're going to go out into the world and experience life before settling down. Women traditionally don't get that opportunity, but it's expected for a man. Maybe you're a Mormon and you go off on your mission. Maybe you join the military, you serve your country, or you travel to another country or maybe just a different state to attend university. My point is that this is what Loyal is doing right now in the story. And we, the readers, have invested in him as a character, and the story would be different without him. Loyal's basically saying that his freedom to be this person that we've grown to love is in jeopardy because of this social construct that has been built around gender roles. And the point of making this statement, in my opinion, is that this is what happens to women every day. Not to the same degree for all women, but the idea of a woman's place is still very much part of today's world. This is not offering a solution, but it's asking us to think about the situation. Specifically, it's asking if the roles were flipped, so the man is the one at the disadvantage, why is that suddenly unreasonable or wrong if you didn't think it was wrong before? But I'm the first to admit that the Wheel of Time has its own faults when it comes to gender equality. In this specific case, I think Jordan was trying to build a conversation about how we can move forward.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't love the commentary between Matt and Rand.
Yeah.
Like, I know that it's played for comedy, but it smacks of the trope that women are manipulative and conniving, who always play men for fools. Like, how many times we hear that every woman is an Aes Sedai.
Yeah.
And an Aes Sedai never lies, but the truth she tells may not be the truth you hear.
Yep.
The message is that women can't be trusted. This keeps playing into the idea that women are just trying to trap or trick a man into marriage, and that he's a prisoner once she gets her claws into him. Just look at how terrified Loyal is of marriage, because he's sure that he'll be trapped in the steading forever because no wife would let him leave. But he's dead wrong. The second he marries Aerith, she stands up to his mother and she encourages him to speak in front of the Great Stump.
Yep.
She loves his bravery and is proud of his adventures. She wants to go adventuring with him. You know, I know that Loyal and the Two Rivers boys are young, and I don't know, maybe Jordan was trying to say that they don't know any better and have things all twisted up. Loyal will learn. But the problem is that The Great Hunt came out in 1990, and Knife of Dreams didn't come out until 2005.
Right.
With a 15-year gap, no one remembers whatever lesson or commentary he was trying to make, you know? I mean, this isn't the most blatant offense or anything like that. But the theme of nagging women, trying to control and manipulate men crops up way more than it should.
Yes, it does.
And a lot of the time it's played for laughs. I just don't think it's very funny, you know?
Yeah, and to be honest, like, I find myself in a position more and more these days, especially as I'm getting older. Like, I find people making jokes with other men, and especially younger men, of like, oh, you know, like a married friend, I'll say something, oh, I gotta, you know, take care of something to keep my wife happy, or, you know, get, you know, happy wife, happy life. We're surrounded by all these phrases, you know, the honey-do list, all these different things that,
or like how we keep scaring young men who are getting engaged.
Oh God, yes. Like every young man in my life who ever gets engaged, I feel like I'm the only person around them who's like, no, you don't understand. Being married is awesome. Like, at least for me it has been. I don't know I can't speak for other people, but why do we keep telling young men that marriage is this thing that to be feared and you're going to lose yourself?
Yeah,
like,
it's like Dead Man Walking or Another One Bites the Dust.
Yep.
It's like, why even get married if you hate marriage so much? Like,
exactly.
It's crazy.
I mean, if marriage was so bad, why do so many people do it? And the part that's actually making me more and more upset and pushing my buttons lately is the older men who have been married for years who perpetuate this like idea of like, oh, you know, don't give up your freedom, you know. Like, if you don't like being married so much, why are you still married? Like, I don't know. And
yeah, and I mean, and the younger men are just as wrong as Loyal is, you know. It's like like I remember, you know, before we got married, you were like, oh, I'm never going to have time to play video games again. Well, I just played video games with you. I may have sucked at it, but, you know, I still played with you, you know. It's like...
that's actually not true. You were much better at Fable than I ever was.
Oh, yeah, but
we love that game.
Died so quickly in Halo. Oh, my gosh. I was terrible. Although I did distract the bad guys because I would just run into the fray and they would all shoot me and then you got to pick them off from them. So I mean, it worked.
Yeah, and you love the Avengers movies. I mean, like seriously,
you know, yeah,
all those
liked them.
all those tropes that I was afraid of because I'd been told time and time again, you know, your wife's not going to let you do this, and you're going to have to grow up. You're going to have to give up all these things that you love so much right now. I didn't have to give up a single one of them because the person that I married loves me and wants me to be happy.
Yeah, and it's like this idea of men and women constantly being in competition for dominance.
Yeah.
You know, like that someone always has to be in control or in charge and make all the decisions. And that's just crap. You know, it's like men and women can totally get along and compromise and, you know, make decisions together. Like you and I make decisions together.
You know, it's almost like someone should write a whole 14-book series talking about how if men and women learn to balance it out, like the really great and amazing things happen. You know, someone should do that.
That's a great idea.
Just saying. Sorry, I got up on a soapbox there for a bit, and I just wanted to say that I think we do a major disservice to young people, men and women, both, by perpetuating this idea that marriage is this thing that's going to end your life and change you forever in ways that you don't want. And I think, I think that's a load of crap.
I mean, it is going to change you forever, but for the better.
Absolutely.
Both people, I mean, hopefully, if it's a good marriage and you chose the right person for you, both people will be changed forever, but they will be changed for the better. Their lives will be better. They'll become better people.
Right.
And I know we keep talking about men and women, and I don't want to.
Right.
I'm not trying to exclude, non-binary people and LGBT lifestyle or any of that kind of stuff. It's just Jordan specifically was talking about the balance of men and women, which is why this conversation is going in that direction.
Right. But even there's always that perception of there's the dominant role and the submissive role in a relationship.
Right.
And when you enter into that marriage, you're giving up your dominant role. Is the assumption. Like, doesn't matter what position you're coming from.
Yeah.
And I think that's just wrong. Yes, there are strengths and weaknesses in people, but that doesn't necessarily mean dominance and submissive. And I think that's something we confuse a lot about marriages. Yeah,
definitely. And I mean, it definitely can still happen even if you're of the same sex. Like, I was having a conversation recently about the falsettos, and the storyline takes place in 1979 when being openly gay was just starting to take off. And so you had a man who was married, divorced his wife to be with another man. And the problem is because he is used to being in a husband-wife relationship in the 70s, and on top of that, there's a lot of religious influence.
Yeah.
He's used to having a wife, meaning he's used to being dominant. He's used to coming home and having someone who cooks him dinner and takes care of him and all that kind of stuff. So now that he's in a relationship with another man, he's still expecting a wife. He's still expecting his partner to cook him dinner and take care of him and wash his clothes and iron his suits. Except because he's in a relationship with another man who also was raised with the same expectation, it causes problems. So moving away from that idea of somebody being in charge and the other person having to cater to their needs is important.
It really is.
Whether it's two men or two women or a man and a woman or whatever, partnership. A good relationship, a good romantic, loving relationship is about being partners, about being on the same team and not trying to win.
Because if there's a winner, there's a loser.
Yeah.
And if there's a loser, you're both hurting.
Yeah. If you love someone, you don't want them to lose.
Exactly.
Even if it's losing to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
guess we were both on a soapbox. I'm going to step off now.
And we end the chapter with the impending doom of going through the ways again.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's it for chapters 34 and 35 of The Great Hunt. Join us next week for chapters 36 and 37 for some really disturbing stuff, frankly.
Right? Yeah. Ooh, it'll be an interesting episode. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Wheel of Time Pod-Thru.
We'll see you again next week. Make sure that you rate and subscribe to us on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts these days. If you could leave us a positive review, it would really help us out. It makes us more visible so people can find us. You can tweet us at Pod-Thru or email us at whatpodthru@gmail.com and tell us your thoughts on anything we covered today.
That's WOTPODTHRU@gmail.com. Thanks, everybody, and we hope the wheel weaves you in our direction again soon.